You are most welcome. You are most welcome. I'm Father Liberio. This is Libe Africa TZ, Libe Africa TV. It is a channel special for all informations about Africa. So get tuned. We were just looking on the development stages which Africa as a continent had already achieved before the contacts with the Europeans and the Arabs or Asians. So in some ways, too much importance is attached to the growth of political states in Africa even before the coming of the whites or Europeans and the Arabs. There were already ruling government system like Bunyoro, Kitara, Wanamtapa, Ashanti, Zulu, Nyamwezi of Tabora, Tanzania, Temship, this Unyanyembe and Nyungu ya Mawe. There were strong political organizations such as Hehe, or Nguni of Zulu, and the other states to speak. There were likely this Bunyoro, Kitara, Mwanamtapa, Oyo state, Dahomey state. All these were strong organized states which they were just organizing themselves, the Africans, even in the absence of the Europeans. So here I'm just showing how Africa had already developed even before the coming of the Europeans or whites and the Arabs, so to speak. So in some ways, too much importance is attached to the growth of political states, as how I have just mentioned them. It was in Europe that the nation states reached an advanced stage, and the Europeans tended to use the presence or absence of the well-organized political, polities as measure of civilization. So the Europeans used the term civilization to make the African to think as a European, an African to think as African. African to think as a white man. That's why our forefathers were even taught how to comb their hairs as Europeans. We know those styles, and the Europeans made sure that the Africans would think better, that the Europeans were better than the Africans. Take, for instance, we have this assimilation policy from French to Francophone countries, even to present Africa, go Congo, Burundi, and other Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, and other countries. The Africans would think as Europeans. The Africans would wear as Europeans. The African would just talk majestical like Europeans. So this is colonialism. Our popular writer of novels and other books, this is Ngugi wa Thiong'o, once wrote a book, if not a thesis, that decolonize your mind, decolonize your religion, decolonize your thoughts, decolonize your musics, decolonize your clothes. So you have to decolonize to be real African, to come back to Africa program that is. So subscribe. This is Libe Africa History. It is a channel, all informations you need to get about the African continent. So it is a good channel for all people, or all students, or scholars who are persuading bachelor in African social studies, or masters in African social studies, or doctoral in African social studies. So this is the proper channel to deal with or to listen. I'm a theologian, a Catholic, Roman Catholic priest, a writer, author of 15 books. Subscribe to this channel. And I have another channel which is called Libe TZ. This is Libe Africa. We have another Libe TZ. So Libe TZ, there is a channel specialized in different languages: Swahili, Arabic, English, French, and other languages. Also, it is full of preachings, because I'm a priest. So my homilies are also found in that Libe TZ channel. This is Libe Africa, specialized with all matters about Africa. Africa, make Africa great. Subscribe, please. So it was in Europe that the nation state reached and advanced the stage, and the Europeans tended to use the presence of absence of well-organized polities as a measure of civilization. Is how I have said. Other places they used assimilado. The Portuguese used the word assimilado. Assimilado. The people from Zimbabwe and other places, Malawians, to think as if they are Portuguese, to think as if they are whites, so that they may be ruled easily. So that is not entirely justified, because in Africa there were small political units which had relatively advanced material and non-material cultures. So even before the coming of the Europeans and Arabs, there were great outstanding development. There were great outstanding culture, tradition, and the different ways of the African living. So we had our own things even before the coming of the Europeans, because every culture there is no culture which is above, which is superior to other cultures. So every culture is best as regard to the particular group, to the particular society. For instance, neither the Igbo people of Nigeria nor the Kikuyu of Kenya overproduced large centralized governments in their traditional setting, but both had sophisticated systems of political rule based on clans, and in the case of the Igbo, on religions, oracles, and the secret societies. Both of them were efficient agriculturists and iron workers, and the Igbo had been manufacturing brass and bronze items ever since the 9th century AD, if not earlier. So the Igbo people of Nigeria had already manufactured the brass and the bronze items in their industries, which the Europeans came and they called those local industries. You see, so for the African, these were industries. For the Europeans, they used to be local industries. So we were possessing industries before the coming even of the Europeans. The coming of the Europeans in Africa made these small so-called local industries to be smashed out. That's why men and those who were producers in the African societies were chopped. Their hands were chopped, their legs, and hence the manpower was decreasing day to day among the Africans. Hence, some of the technologies were smashed out so that the Africans could not develop. Subscribe this channel, please. This is the University on the African Social Studies. If you want to know everything about Africa, please watch this channel. I have prepared well, and I have just invested my energy, my power, my intelligence, my time to inform you many things about our mother Africa. Subscribe and don't move away from this channel, please. These are some examples, short examples. However, after making the above qualification, we can say both of them were efficient agriculturists and iron workers, and the Igbo had been manufacturing brass and bronze since 9th AD, Anno Domini, 9th century. However, after making the above qualification, it can be considered that, on the whole, the larger states in Africa had the most effective political structure and a great capacity of producing food, clothing, minerals, and other material artifacts. It can readily be understood that those societies which had ruling classes were concerned with agriculture, with acquiring luxury and prestigious items. That's why the Europeans and the Arabs were flocking to Africa to take some materials like ivory, ivory, like gold, like diamond, and other things. We can say the privilege, we can say it can later be understood that the luxury and the prestige items, the privileged groups in control of the state were keen to stimulate manufacturers as well as to acquire them through trade. They were the ones that mobilized labor to produce a greater surplus above subsistence needs, and in the process of encouraged specialization and the division of labor. So the blacks, I mean the Africans, played their parts. Scholars often distinguish between groups in Africa, which states and those which were stateless. Sometimes the word stateless is carelessly or even abusively used, but it does not describe these people who had no machinery of government cohesion, no concept of political unity wider than the family of the village. After all, there is no class stratification in a society. It follows there is no state, because the state arose as an instrument. So, Nubia, for instance, there are areas to be considered, let us say. The remainder of the section will be devoted to review of the principal features of several of the most developed societies and states of Africa in the last 1,000 years of or so before Africa came into permanent contact with Europe. The areas to be considered are Egypt, Nubia, Morocco, the Western Sudan, the intercastle zone of East Africa, and Zimbabwe. Each serves as an example of what development meant in early Africa and what the direction of social movement was. To a greater or less extent, each was also leading force on the continent in the sense of caring, neighboring along the same path, either by absorbing them or influencing them more indirectly. So some concrete examples are going to be given. Subscribe, don't move away from this channel. I was just doing the lecture on how Africa had already developed even before the coming of the Europeans and further rebellion from Kigoma, Tanzania. Africa, make Africa great, be inspired, and don't move away from this channel. It is a university for all people who wish to know Africa continent and its content.